everybody. Welcome to another episode of Super Gamer Boys. I'm your host, Colonel and Dad, Garrett Morlang. And here in the virtual studio with me is the king of video games and resident power washer extraordinaire, Adrian Holmes. What's up, Adrian?
What is going on, Garrett? How are you this evening? We are back for another round of foolishness and maybe a little bit of game news sprinkled in there.
Yeah, mostly foolishness, especially since I am here. Yeah, it's good to be back. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't sure if it was gonna be possible. There was Hurricane Hillary hit San Diego hard, or was supposed to, anyways. Turned out it was like a light sprinkle all day and got a nice little breeze, in the afternoon. But a lot
you were spared. The rest of LA, however. We'll see how that goes.
I did hear that LA got hit pretty good just with because of the sheer amount of water. Like there's some video I saw of one of the canals that are designed to hold water. So it's not like it was bad, but it was normally bone dry, full to the brim of water. So it was like, oh, okay, well the canal is working as it should, but holy cow, that's a lot of water. San Diego, from everything I've heard, still in one piece. Everything's good. Actually, no. Oh man, I should look into that. The one place I should go check out is, so there's this place called Mission Valley, and there's a mall there, and anytime we get any bit of rain, that place floods immediately. The parking garage is 3 foot of water. It's insane because it's right next to a river. So
this is a public place flooding like this?
Yeah, it's
happened
mall
multiple times, and nobody's hey, we should.
I mean, it's right next to a river. What do? Move the river? You can't do it.
Build a some kind of a structure next to it. I don't know, a fence, a wall, something. Yeah. Barricade.
But it floods constantly, and so I'm curious. I haven't heard anything, which I'm surprised. I feel like if it flooded, it would have been all over the news. Oh my gosh, Mission Valley is 10 foot of water. GameStop and the Apple Store completely wiped out. But I haven't heard anything, so I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, I was surprised. It was pretty calm here. Let me see. Pelagem in the chat says a bunch of streets Modesto flood every time there are big rains. Every time, no fix. So, all right. So Central Valley is maybe got a little bit as well. Yeah. So yeah, we are having a show again. Yesterday I was like, should I even do show notes? Is this going to be happening? Because originally that it wasn't supposed to hit us until Monday, early morning, this morning, and then. Yeah, it hit us a little earlier and was extremely light. So here we are. I'm alive.
I'll tell you what. How about you just keep it down there, all right? You can keep it down there in SoCal. We don't need it up here. All right.
Well, I was looking at the radar, and as of it was 9:00 this morning. I was
supposed to be near Fresno.
Well, I looked at the radar. It was already in Nevada. It was out of California. It's out of California already. So it's left the state and it's gone to a new state. It was just crossed just crossed the border into Nevada. So I was like, all right, we're free and clear now. Good luck, Las Vegas. Oh man. All right. Well, let's get going with the show here. Since we are here, we all survived the Hurricane Hillary. And so let's celebrate and talk about some video games. Today, we're going to be talking about some of our Gamescom predictions. That is happening tomorrow as of the recording. So when everyone else gets this on Wednesday, you're going to be like, what are you talking about? Well, you can, if you miss the coverage, You should have been here. You should have been here, but watch our coverage. We are going to be live reacting tomorrow at 11 p.m. Pacific time. I think it's at 11. Is that correct? I should have researched that.
Gamescom is 11 their time, but it's 10:30 a.m. our time.
Really? Interesting.
Yes, because it's in Europe.
Okay. When we get to that segment of the news, we will have a clearer time. So if you want to know what time we're streaming it, stay tuned for another 20 minutes, and then I'll tell you. Gamescom predictions. If Super Mario Wonder might have online play, how Mario has lost his voice, and Hi-Fi Rush hits major milestone. But first, let's give a quick shout out to our Patreon producers, Bumble Smash, Eddie Martin, Kajoma01, and our Super Gamer sponsors, Julie Bates and Mama Mare. If you want to be awesome just like those folks, head over to patreon.com/supergamerboys and you can support us over there starting at just $1 a month. That's right, $1. And you can get episodes early and ad-free, such as this show. You don't catch it live, you can be catching it right afterwards. I edit it and put it out for Patreon supporters, both the audio and the video. $5 tier, we have a $5, $10, $15 tier that we will talk about later on the show. You also get access at that $1 tier to our other Patreon exclusive shows. Previously, that was Super Gamer Book Club, which, by the way, the final episode is now out for free. Super Metroid featuring Nintendo Cartridge Society. So you should go check that out, featuring Patrick and Mark over there. Blast to record, talk about some Super Metroid. But the new show, Super Later Boys, episode 2 is currently available, and hopefully this weekend we're recording episode 3. I reached out to JJ and Adrian, and we're trying to nail it down. That was one of those things, Adrian, that like Saturday morning, I woke up and I'm like, there's something I'm forgetting. Like, what?
Something has to do with the end of the month. What is that? What is that?
And I looked at the calendar and I'm like, oh no, we have to record Super Later Boys, and I'm leaving on a trip for Seattle.
We gotta start planning the rest of the year. Being like, hey, in this month, what do you got? In this month, and everybody put it on their calendar so that we know. So that we're not doing this the day before we gotta record it.
Something. Or I just need to we just need to be smart and not record a week before the end. Like this, it's an evergreen product. We could literally record at any time. Like we could have recorded 10 episodes in the first week of August and just put them out for the next 10 months. But instead, I wait until the last week. I'm we need an episode now.
That's the hard part, right? It's old working man. We gotta.
Yeah.
You got to work with his schedule. So,
real quick, I did bring up
old John Henry.
I did bring up the IGN article just for the fun of it, so I could tell you the Gamescom stream time. According to this, Tuesday, August 22nd, Gamescom studio opening night live with IGN post show is happening at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern time, 8 p.m. CEST. So it is 11 a.m. tomorrow. We will be doing that IGN watch along, it looks like, according to IGN, which they are generally pretty reputable.
So do we want to, we'll talk about it later. I was gonna say, do we want to start early? Like we'll at 10:30?
We'll see. Yeah. We will put out a post. How about that? Stay tuned. Stay tuned. We've talked about our Patreon. We've talked about what we're talking about tonight. I do want to give a shout out to Jack Sriracha and Yate for allowing us to use this music, which is probably incredibly loud in the background. Because I forgot.
Oh no, has it been blaring?
Because I forgot to turn it down on the live stream and the podcast. It's going to sound great.
It sounds like we're in a club right now. With the music just blasting.
Sorry.
Hey, have you heard of my podcast? Yeah. Are you listening to my pod? What?
Listen.
My podcast?
I always do that. So I have the Stream Deck app on my iPad. That's what I use. I need to set up a macro where when I hit the button to start the show, it automatically turns it down because I always forget. It drives me crazy. Sorry, live stream people. You probably couldn't hear a thing we were talking about. Unless it was one of Jack Sriracha's chill tunes, then like his more laid back song.
Might have got away with it.
You might have been able to hear us still. One last thing I want to make an announcement of. I was a guest on one of our sister shows, also part of the I don't even know what it called. What's the network we're part of? HP Video Game Network, right? HP VGN.
Hey something. Man, you're the captain. You're supposed to know these things.
We're part of some video game podcast network that we rarely speak to or hear from, except for our friends over at SBF VGS, Super Best Friend Video Game Sleepover. That's the name of their podcast.
The rest of them are dead.
They are great people. They rated us a couple weeks ago while we were recording. David has been over there playing Baldur's Gate 3 and having a good old time. It's a lot of fun to watch. Anyways, I was a guest on their show. I recorded it Friday. It just came out today, Monday, the 21st. So go check out SBF VGS, all your podcast apps. And give them a follow. They make great stuff. And it was fun. We got to talk about some news and, talked, I think, for about an hour or more about Baldur's Gate 3. They're like, oh, yeah, we usually shoot between an hour and a half. We went for over 2 hours talking about like the podcast as a whole. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun with those guys, David and Mike over there. So go check that out. And you were on something too, right? Something you were on.
I was on the Super NPC radio. They were doing a Space Solace.
The Space Solace.
We were picking the best games from 1998, which some people consider the best year for gaming ever. There's definitely a case to be made for that. So go and listen to their podcast and find out what I picked. Maybe it is the best year ever. Who knows?
1998.
This year can,
Okay.
This year can definitely compete.
Metal Gear Solid, right? That was 98.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's my pick. That's all of my picks. Is just that one game.
Speaking of Baldur's Gate, that game looks really, really good.
Yeah,
And
why aren't you playing it?
It's a lot. I'll explain it when we get to what you've been playing. But I tell you what, there's this character I've been seeing on the social medias. You probably know her. Apparently she's a tiefling. Karlak, I think is her name.
I have not met her yet. I have seen her. I have not met her.
Okay.
Yeah, not in my gameplay yet.
Let's just say it's a really good incentive to play the game.
Oh my god. Oh no, Adrian.
Don't act like that's not what this game is about. We know.
It really, I mean, they made a big push in the marketing, like what, 2 weeks before it came out, like you can sleep with a bear. And I remember being
this game is pretty saucy, dude.
And I was like, that's weird. Like, that's not why I play games, but all right, cool. And we talk about that on the SBF VGS, because it's kind of like, what's the deal? And everyone's like, no, yeah, like it's, that was actually one of the spoiler, I guess, for the podcast, Mike's gripes. He was like, people are just like way too horny over there. Like you barely.
That's a gripe?
Well, because he was saying like, he's like, either a game is like, he compares either a game with its romance built into the games, how it's either a Mass Effect 2 or a Mass Effect 3. I guess in Mass Effect 2 you had to really work for it, and like it made sense. It felt like it made sense. Mass Effect 3, he explained how there's one time where he spent a long time from the ship and he came back and like boom, 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 boom. Like in one night, apparently he had like 4 or 5 different people showing up at his room. And so he's like, this game is closer to a Mass Effect 3. And he's like, and I don't like it. He's like, if there's going to be these like relationships you build with people, at least make me work for it, make it like realistic a little bit.
Don't know, bro. it feels like I don't know. Just I have to object to that one because it's just kind of like, oh no, what a terrible problem to have. A bunch of hot monster ladies want to jump my bones as soon as they meet me.
Gosh,
I don't know, bro. That doesn't sound like a problem to me. That just tells me that your character starts off with all the charisma you can get. You start off with your charisma on just like 1,000. I'm fine with that.
Doesn't matter what your charisma level's actually at. It's just
you walk into the tavern, all of them swooning over you.
All the ladies want you.
You got to beat them off with a stick. Look, you're selling me on this game now.
A Pelage in the chat says +5 in endowment. Roll the D20 and see what you get. You get +5.
We got nat 20 on that one. Don't you worry about that.
Roll for advantage. You can roll twice and take the better of both. Oh man. All right.
It's on my radar, trust me.
All right, let's move on with the show here. We got some good stuff coming up, like this mailbag segment. So let's go ahead and boot up Super Gamer Bot. Do you want to flip that switch over there?
I would if my switches were working.
Oh, your switches are broken. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let me flip the old switch and.
Thank you, sir.
There we go.
There we go.
All right.
Hi everyone, SG Bot here. Ready for questions?
Bring it on.
Bring it on. SG Bot, huh? They're shortening it up a little bit. Okay. All right.
Yeah, he gave himself a nickname. How about that?
Yeah, that's pretty. It's some smart AI over there.
I was gonna say, I don't remember putting that feature in there. I think it's programming itself. I don't know about this.
A little too smart. All right. This first question comes from Hophead Ed. Let's see what he has for us.
What is your Mount Rushmore of video game surprises?
Mount Rushmore of video game surprise. I do see a note here that spoilers are allowed as well.
Oh, okay.
So we don't need to hold back. If we got a twist or a turn in the game, full spoiler. So heads up to you people who are listening. If you don't want to hear spoilers,
full on.
Jump ahead like 5 to 10 minutes, maybe. I don't know. It'll be hard to tell, but just jump ahead a little bit. How about that?
Oh God, you got one off the top of your head?
I do. My number one is Metal Gear Solid 2. Not only is
the Raiden switch.
Yeah, not only is like you play for the first like couple hours, like hour or so as Snake, and then boom, you go to the next section of the game expecting to be Snake. They kind of like even make like code, your code name is Snake, blah blah blah, and you're like, why am I going through this introduction? I know who this character is. And he takes off the mask and it's Raiden. You don't play as Snake for like 3/4 of the game. It's like, what? Are you kidding me?
Now, did you do like the rest of the internet claims that they did at the time, and they were like, oh, this is an interesting twist? Because I feel like a lot of people were more. I've seen both sides.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen when people were like, oh, this is kind of sick. We're subverting expectations. And then I've seen other people where I was like, what do you mean I'm not playing as Snake? But that was the whole point, right? Was to like kind of piss you off a little bit.
I was not pissed off, but I mean, also, when did this come out? The year is 2001, and I was like, 9 years old, 8 years old. So I was like, wow, this is so cool. Like, I just thought video games are cool. I thought Metal Gear was cool. Like, kind of like how big of a nerd I am Metal Gear now. Like, I've always been like that. Think of back to 9-year-old Garrett or like 8-year-old Garrett and be like so nerdy into Metal Gear. And at that point, it was only one game. It was only like, I only had Metal Gear Solid 1. So that switch, but then also in the same game, the whole thing is like this bait and switch. You get to the end of the game and find out that the whole second half of the game, or second 2/3 with Raiden, the whole time you're playing with Raiden is technically a simulation run, and Colonel Campbell is an AI, and they
dun dun dun.
It's like not actually, like it's not him the whole time. And it's almost like it's not an exact recreation, but it's like a similar recreation to Metal Gear Solid 1, which it is. Like a lot of like the battles and the layout and like there's different things that like call back to Metal Gear Solid 1. It's like, oh my gosh, like I didn't even, like it's obvious looking back, but like while you're playing it, like that was not what I was thinking at all until like they reveal it. It's like, no way, like the whole thing is just a reskin, a simulation of 1. And Ryan's in shock. He's like, are you kidding me? Like, I've been used as a tool, for the Patriots and stuff like that. So it's a great like double twist in that game. Not only do you not play as Snake, and you get to the end, the whole thing was fake. Like, is this like set up?
It? Don't forget about the triple twist at the very end with Solidus. Mr. President.
Oh yeah, that he's the freaking. I mean, you find that out kind of at the end of Metal Gear Solid 1, but you just don't know who he is. You're like, who is this guy? And then in 2, you find out like, oh shoot, yeah, like the bad guy's the president of the United States, and also Raiden's like adoptive father when he was a child soldier. It's
wild.
Like, twist after twist. Metal Gear Solid 2 is like a game of twist. I just spoiled like 3/4 of them, but go play this game. It's so good.
It's worth just seeing it unfold.
Pat Pelagem in the chat just said, thanks for spoiling the whole game for me. I said it's going to be spoiled.
Now go play it.
I said go mute it.
We knew that. They knew that.
You knew it was coming on. But I mean, the Master Collection is coming out in October, where 1, 2, and 3 will all be playable on PC, on Switch, on consoles. So go. I don't care if I spoiled it. It's still an amazing game. The characters are fantastic. The story's great. But yeah, the twist. There's so many twists in that game. It's great.
I got a slam dunk one. I gotta bring this up because this is one of the best ones in recent history.
Mm-hmm.
Is of course the BioShock, the big twist ending, the Would You Kindly, where you find out that you are not yourself. You are essentially a puppet that's been brainwashed to serve Andrew Ryan, who we find out is actually Andrew Ryan and not. Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Why can't I think of his freaking name there?
I only remember him as Andrew Ryan, but basically, your character for the majority of the game has been helping out this person I want to say like O'Malley, like he has some kind of Irish name. I know it's not that. I think it's Fontaine. Fontaine. You've been helping him out, or he's been leading you along, thinking that you're helping him out to help him like escape and finally, show everybody that Andrew Ryan is the bad guy. And then it turns out that Fontaine actually is Ryan, and he's been controlling you through a pre-programmed phrase that is "Would you kindly."
Is it Fontaine?
And whenever he says "Would you kindly," your character subconsciously must obey whatever it is. So when you go back through the game, you'll realize everything you've been doing when you've been talking to Fontaine is just things that he is making you do because he said, "Would you kindly?" You don't even think about it. You don't even, because you don't know, of course. But when you go back and you see everything kind of culminate in that, it's just. And then when Ryan makes you kill him, when he's trying to, when he does his big monologue, a man chooses, a slave obeys. Yeah. And you still kill him because he said, "Would you kindly?" Oh, it's so good. So good.
Sorry, maybe I missed it, but did you say he's also supposed to be your dad, right? Isn't he like your dad or something?
He's your biological father, but I don't think he's like your dad. Like he supplied the DNA for you. Okay, right. Because
Fontaine doesn't sound right, because Fontaine's a bad guy, isn't he?
Was it not? What was it?
For sure, whatever. I'm on the freaking wiki and I cannot find his name.
Fontaine was the gangster.
Yeah,
I think.
Weirdly enough,
I am such a fraud.
Weirdly enough, I'm on the BioShock wiki and it doesn't even say a name that I can find. Anyways, very weird.
I know he was Irish, but I cannot remember his friggin' name.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, the character that Ryan was playing was Irish.
Yeah. His fake alias or whatever. All right, another one of mine is God of War Ragnarok, another new one. I'm gonna again. This you guys know this is a spoiler. This is a question. If you don't want to hear it, mute it for like 10 minutes here. We'll come back. God of War Ragnarok. When you find out that the tier that you save, the God of War, the Norse God of War, is actually Odin in disguise. The whole time you're plotting and working together and trying to figure out how to get rid of Odin, how to overthrow him, how to, for a while, get your son back, get Atreus back. And then the reveal, at the end of the game, when you find out, you didn't save Tyr out of the prison. It was Odin, because he can shapeshift. He is in disguise the whole time, listening to all of your plans, all of your plotting. No freaking way. And then on his way out, he freaking kills, what's his name there? So not only does he reveals who the heck he is, and blows everyone's mind, but then he takes Brock and kills him right in front of his brother. And it's
I was not expecting that at all. I was, especially when he, you know what? And somebody pointed out that there was breadcrumbs the entire way.
I've watched those videos and you look at him like, shoot, if you were a hawk-eyed game player and knew all the mythology around Odin, I think you would have picked up on it sooner. But from 99% of the people, you're not gonna realize. But yeah, there's little hints and tips throughout where him not just with his personality, the way he was acting, different things he said, different locations. I guess there's other characters that Odin is hiding disguised as throughout the game as well. So it kind of earlier in the game, you can even find out Odin can shapeshift. He can be whoever you want. So it's crazy.
Even the fact that in his dialogue, the Y in Tyr, it has the little dots over it normally when you are referencing that character, but when Odin is talking, it's just spelled Tyr, no dots.
Yeah. So even
it goes as subtle as that
with the subtitles. Yeah, distincting. It's not technically Tyr who's talking right now.
That is wild.
So good. That was such a huge twist. Do you have another one?
I do. A really good one that unfortunately sucked pretty bad was not sucked because it wasn't well done, but just what happened is in Red Dead Redemption 1 at the end, when John Marston he finds out that he's been set up, and he's in his barn, and he opens that door, and it's the sheriff and all those other bounty hunters, and they gun him down. Did not see that coming at all. Got to near the end of the game and thought, oh, well, we made it. We get to start our life, or we get to, get out of that renegade life and turn our things around. And he unfortunately didn't get that chance and was just gunned down. Then you had to play as Jack after, his son. Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Jeez. Yeah. I don't know if I ever.
Did you never finish Red Dead 1?
Fully complete. I feel like I think I did. I might have gotten to the part because you said like you play as a son afterwards. I feel like I got to that and then kind of dropped off. So I never like did however much was left as your son or whatever. But I did get to that part. But I'm still on the BioShock wiki trying to figure out who the heck. What's his name?
Oh man, it's going to kill. It's got to go ahead. I'll find it. I'll dig.
Yeah, you keep digging. No, that's a very good one. Red Dead. I mean, even like I never played the second one because I didn't like it, but even the second one had like a good twist too at the end, right? Or not necessarily a twist, but just like a surprise ending. Like, whoa, shoot.
I had it. Yeah, I had it ruined for me. Unfortunately, I haven't played it either.
Okay,
but I know what happens.
Crazy. That was probably JJ, huh? You spoiled it. I feel like for me that's what happened. He was talking about on a show on one of the episodes.
Wasn't it Atlas in BioShock?
Yeah. Okay. It says an Irishman, Atlas, assists Jack in the making of.
Bingo.
Okay, that's who it is. We figured it out. I think, maybe. I don't know. Hard to tell. Who knows? No one will know.
With your coinly. That's how I used to say it. With your coinly.
With your coinly. My next one is what was it? Oh, Pokemon Gold and Silver. When you get to the end
and you find out you get to go back to Kanto and do the whole,
and you fight your former character. You fight Red. Oh, like not only do you get to go back to Kanto, which is awesome, but then but the whole fight between you and like Red or whoever from the original games, like, and there's superpower Pokemon you gotta beat. Oh man, that was so good. It's like, whoa, like that was me. That's me. Obviously, it's not necessarily the same team you use, but still, like, freaking amazing. It's so good. Do you have a third one? I think you're on your third one, right?
I am. I'm trying to think. Biggest twist. Ooh, I know a good one.
Mm-hmm.
In Star Wars, the Force Unleashed, when you find out that Starkiller is a clone.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That was a really big one.
That's a great one. Yeah.
Because then you realize, in the beginning, when Starkiller is a kid and Vader shows up and he kills all those Jedi that were harboring you, he already knew who you were. You were just an asset that he came to steal back.
Right.
Because somehow you had escaped. Oh, great. What a great game that was. I don't know why they don't ever want to remaster that or do anything with that. That is
such good games. Like, I was like one of my favorite just my favorite Star Wars games for the longest time, just because of its force abilities.
It's so over the top.
Such an abundance of different force abilities, and the fact that you'd be like, oh, I'm gonna do a good playthrough, a bad playthrough, that even change what abilities you have. So much fun, so good. I wish it'd either come out with a sequel or remaster. That'd be the best thing. Is just remaster those.
Remaster, yeah.
That'd be so good.
They might not do enough because 2 sucked, but I mean, you never know with this new regime.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. My final one is, and I've talked about this one before, is Death Stranding. Finding out that the bad
You are
guy.
the bridge.
Yeah, well, yeah, the bad guy, Cliff, who's been chasing you the whole time trying to get BB. He wants his BB back. He wants his baby, you know? You thought it was the BB you were carrying. Little did you know, you are the BB. And that...
Dun, dun, dun.
Exactly. And not only that, but you are the cause of the Death Stranding. Because you were killed. You were shot and killed in your father's arms, in Cliff's arms. And then Amelie, it's a whole thing. It's confusing. Amelie is able to go, or not Amelie, Bridget is able to go to the beach, which is kind of like this weird afterlife purgatory place, finds you, saves you, brings you back to life, which is what makes you, that's what gives you the ability to repatriate, or, you know, when you die, you come back to life. So not only that, so like that kind of altered the entire timeline. That caused the Death Stranding. That caused the pandemic that destroyed the world. This, like, so not only are you the cause for all the horribleness in the world because of what Bridget did by bringing you back, but yeah, you're also you're that baby from 20 years ago or whatever, you know, that Cliff's been fighting, literally coming back from hell, coming back from the afterlife, fighting, trying to find and save. And it's like, oh man, it's such an intense, like, it's like 2 hours of cutscenes. Like there's a why, set the controller down. You're just like watching this movie basically at this point. But yeah, like finding out, like tears running down my face, like when they have the reunion, he realizes what's going on, like me seeing his father, like, oh, you're my dad, like what? And then like the crazy, like shock, like no way, like you're the reason for the Death Stranding, like because you were brought back to life, like that force that made the beach cross over into our world, and the dead coming into our world, all the undead. Absolutely crazy. Fantastic. That's kind of twist at the end. There's a lot of twists in Death Stranding, a lot of which I will be the first to admit aren't necessarily all necessarily earned. But that one was great. Or those two were great. Those two were awesome. There's a lot of other times he tries, like Kojima gets a little crazy and tries to go over top of something.
That's what he does, but they hit more than they miss.
That's
so
the thing.
Why people let him do it.
Metal Gear Solid 2, this is like a solid banger all the way through. And Death Stranding, like for the most part, all right. He hit a lot of the twists and turns, but there's also some very much unearned ones in there. But yeah, Death Stranding's up there for me.
I gotta think about my last one. I almost said one for Final Fantasy VII, then I remembered that you hadn't played it, and I was like, ooh.
I mean, I know it's been spoiled for me. I know the twists and turns. I know what happens. In the
No
original
way.
one.
So you say it just in case.
There's a character death who is very much alive in the remake, and she's definitely does not make it in the original one. I've had it spoiled for me.
Well, that's unfortunate. Well, yeah. Then if that's the case, then yeah. When Aerith is killed by Sephiroth in the original Final Fantasy VII, no one saw that coming, and those of us who were there were changed forever, because that's a lot of people our ages like first experience with like character death in a game. Like that impacted the story as a whole. Like people died in games all the time. Yeah. But like people you weren't attached to, like Aerith was
to spend a good chunk of the game.
Right. Part of your party. So when she died, it was like watching a friend die in essence.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine. Like it's just like, I mean, just I've watched the cutscene, like since it got spoiled for me. I was like, I would watch comparison videos from like, oh, what are the difference between remake and the main game, blah 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 so far, and like some of the videos would like go through that whole cutscene. I'm like, it's just so out of nowhere. It's just so unexpected, so sudden, and it just like so emotional. Like having. For me, I haven't played the original one, but just having even the emotional connection from the remake and thinking like, if she had died, like, oh my gosh, like that would have been horrible. Like she's such like a incredible character. Like I couldn't imagine just losing her out of nowhere. Just boom. All right.
I don't think you'll have to worry about that in this one because it feels like she knows what happened to her in the original timeline. And I think something major is going to change. I don't know how they're going to change it because Sephiroth in the remake is the same Sephiroth from the original 7 that somehow has been able to cross timelines that we don't know about yet.
That's in the remakes it seems like it's not, they're calling it like they called it remake, but there's definitely a few hints that make it seem like throughout the game that's like, oh, this might be more of an alternate universe and less of a remake technically, because there's definitely some like little hints from Sephiroth and different characters, and like isn't there like some sort of like weird flashback or something for Aerith or something? There's been, I remember this seeing some hints. It's been a while since I played it, but it's like, oh
well, there's this weird, the biggest like smoking gun that people say, and this is like way in the weeds, is that I don't know if you remember the part where Sephiroth and Cloud fight and then they go to like, what was it, like the moon or some planet or some other dimension for a minute?
Yeah.
And then he whispers in Cloud's ear, he's like 7 seconds until the end. And in the original game, between Sephiroth falling and the sword stabbing Aerith was 7 seconds. That's how long it took.
Oh, dang.
So that's why everybody is like, oh, that's the connection right there. That's why he's the original Sephiroth from 7. We don't know how he got to this timeline though.
Interesting.
So
crazy.
People think because he failed in the original 7 timeline, he's trying to come here to try it again.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say what he's going to do because you don't know that part yet. But his plan failed in the original 7, and somehow he's here now trying to do it again. So, and I think somehow Aerith knows that because she can sense the other timelines, because
I mean, she's the only one who can see those. Oh, in some, not all the time, but there's like certain instances where like those weird ghost spirit things, like she can see them and other people can't. Sometimes everyone can see them, but other times like just she can see. So it's like this weird connection with like fate, whatever this fate and this weird kind of like spectral beings that keep flying around in there. Like it's so, like she can see more than whatever.
I'm not going to keep going just in case I say something.
Yeah.
But so that's the whole deal with remake and why everybody's so on edge and on pins and needles for Rebirth to come out. Maybe we find something about that at Gamescom.
Dude. I mean, we already know it's coming out, what, January, February? Or did it? It's coming out early next year.
Winter 2024. So it's got to be by...
Cannot wait. Well,
it's got to be by March at the latest.
Originally, it was winter 2023. And then the last time we heard about it, they said early 2024. So they pushed it, which is sad because I was excited for December. But either way. Cool. That was our Mount Rushmore of game surprises. I just looked at the time. We're going on 44 minutes, and we did one question.
Well, let's smoke through the rest of it.
So I was going to ask, do we save these questions? Because we do have other shows and Super Later Boys and stuff that we can talk about these.
Fair.
Okay, that's what we'll do. So we have a couple more questions, but sorry, Super Gamer Bot. We're going to save these for another time because we got lots of news to talk about. So
I'm sure they're fine with that.
I mean, we'll get to it.
Easy night.
We'll get to it when we get to it. All right. Well, thank you so much, Eddie, for writing that in. And for everyone else who wrote in questions, we'll touch on those either next episode or, like I said, we have Super Later Boys that we are always looking for questions and topics for. So if you have some good questions and topics that are don't even have to be necessarily video game related, go to supergamerboys.com/Discord, join our Discord server over there. Completely free to join, and it's fun little space to chat with us, hang out, talk about what games you're playing, and ultimately, like I was just saying, go over there and leave some questions for this show and Super Later Boys. Some fun topics to talk about. All right, it's now time for the nerdy nudes.
It's now time for the nerdy nudes.
Yes, it is, and let me bring up my little new overlay here. Bada bing, bada boo.
Did you see that sick cover that they're doing, that Xbox is doing for the Starfield for the Series X?
No.
It's like a console wrap that you can put around the outside of it. Like their version of the PS5 plates, kind of.
Really? I have not. I need to look that up.
Just as an aside, it just hit my brain because we were talking about news.
Yeah, okay. I'll need to check that out. I have not seen that. All right, this first one is Gamescom 2023. We're going to be doing the live stream tomorrow at 11 a.m. Or if you're watching this on Wednesday or listening to this, go check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/supergamerboys, and that watch along will be there. We'll be live streaming it on both YouTube and Twitch, so you can check it out either place on Tuesday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. But I just thought, or Adrian had a good idea of us kind of just sharing a couple quick predictions, what we hope to see there. Adrian, do you have something that you're hoping to see tomorrow from Germany, from good
Yes.
old Jeff Keighley?
There is a independent game from, I don't know if it's being funded by Xbox or if it's exclusive. It is an ID at Xbox title. It's called Replaced, and it is a 2.5D somehow pixel art action game that is still slated to come out this year. We haven't heard anything about it being delayed, but it is being made by a team in Russia, kind of like how Stalker is. And you know how that whole area is kind of involved in a conflict. So I totally understand if it, does not come out immediately because there are things going on. I don't know. I don't know how the Stalker team was able to do what they needed to do. Because if I remember correctly, they were talking about they might have needed to flee their offices. So it's a miracle that, they were able to get theirs out. But this is the same way that this is being made by a Russian development team, if I'm not mistaken. So if it gets delayed, totally understand. But if not, I would love to see an update or a release date for it by tomorrow. And hopefully it comes out in 2023, because firstly, I want it because it looks awesome. And secondly, I need it because I need it for the final for the fantasy league. I need it to come out in 2023. I already got burned by Pepper Grinder. Stupid Devolver putting out that direct.
Yeah.
And
no, my fantasy league. We did. If you don't know, over on our Discord, we did a fantasy critic game league where you like pick fantasy draft your own like teams of games that were going to come out through the year and games that you think you're going to rate highly, with like Metacritic scores and stuff like that. Mine got all jacked up like around E3 time when games either A, got delayed, got canceled, or just reviewed extremely poorly. And so like games that I thought would be better weren't. And so I think the last thing I did on there, I threw a Hail Mary. I'm like, I don't think it's going to be bad, but I counterpicked. Someone else has Starfield as being a great game. Like they put it on their slate. I'm like, just for that.
Counterpicked Starfield?
Just for the heck of it. I'm already losing. What do I have to lose? I'm already in last place basically. So I counterpicked Starfield. So on one hand, I want it to be good because I can't wait to play it. And on one hand, it's that. On the other hand, it's like, man, if that like just horrendously like crashes and burns there, it would make my fantasy league. I would be rise to the top on that one, I think. But we'll have to wait and see, obviously.
You're a maniac.
Like I said, I'm already like losing, so I have nothing.
But even still, you want to go down swinging.
Exactly. That's what I'm doing. I didn't roll over and die. I counterpicked Starfield.
That might as well
go
be
big or go
home.
Dying. Go big or go home, dude. Real quick here, I did notice in this article I found over at IGN that has the date and time and everything. It does mention that Jeff Keighley promised looks at Alan Wake 2, which recently got delayed. We're going to get looks at that. Assassin's Creed Mirage, Black Myth Wukong, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, Crimson Desert, Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty, Lords of the Fallen, Mortal Kombat 1, Sonic Superstars, and Zenless Zone 0. So those are the things that have been promised to be there. My prediction number one is just totally baseless. I've no firm confirmation or like hints or tips, or there's no reason, no evidence to point towards this, but other than it's Jeff Keighley and he is an even bigger super fan of Hideo Kojima than I am. So and Kojima apparently has been editing something, which he likes to edit his own trailers. So my thought is like, this could be, they said they're not going to reveal any new games, but technically this game's been announced, so we could get something. Death Stranding 2. It's a long shot. It's a very, like, honestly, it's like, I don't think the probability is very high, but again, Jeff Keighley, Hideo Kojima, best buds. They hang out all the time together. They do a podcast together once in a while. I would be, if anywhere is going to announce something for Kojima, it's always going to be a Jeff Keighley event, whether it's this or the Game Awards or Summer Game Fest. So yeah, I don't know. There could be. And I feel like Kojima has a history with Gamescom in the past with showing stuff off, possibly, if I remember right. I can't remember. I feel like with Death Stranding 1, I thought we got like a trailer around this time. So Who knows?
It would make the most sense for it to be here because Gamescom is the biggest show in the world just by sheer numbers and eyes on it alone. So
Yeah.
if you got something to show, you better do it here.
Yeah. So Death Stranding 2 trailer. That's what I think. Or I mean, just Kojima Productions, something from Kojima Productions. I think we could see.
My other thing that would be like a megaton, oh my god thing would be if somehow we get a taste of GTA 6.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
look,
the rumors are what, next
we know
year
it's
sometime?
cooking.
So
Right. This is the perfect place to,
Yeah.
even if it's like a 15-second teaser.
yeah, just like a logo in like late 2024 or something like that.
Or a trailer coming soon or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that. Although
This is
they
the
did
place to do
say,
it.
I mean, although like that's the thing, he came out and said like, oh, there's not going to be any new announcements, and that to me still feels
He
like
said
a new
many.
announcement.
He didn't say any.
Okay, did he? Okay, I
He said
took
it's
it.
more focused on. He said it's more focused on updates,
Okay.
but that then reveals, which means that there will be reveals.
Oh,
So
okay. All right. Yeah, then we could see that there. My second is Elden Ring DLC.
didn't we already?
Do we have anything? I mean, we haven't seen any gameplay or anything, right? We know something might be coming, if I remember, but we haven't seen any gameplay. We don't know much. We know it exists. So if it's coming out this year or even early next year, do you think maybe
We don't even have a date. Oh,
No. As far as I know, we do not. Let's see. Does it have a release date? No. So yeah, I just Googled it real quick just to double check. From Software has not confirmed a release window as of yet. People think late 2023 or early 2024. So yeah, I think we could possibly get more from that, either a date and maybe even some gameplay or like a story-ish trailer, kind of probably less gameplay and probably more story. The fact that we haven't heard anything about it other than just like an image, like that's all we know about it is they released an image on their Twitter. So we know it exists. So
Right.
so Shadow of the Erd Tree is what it's called. So yeah, maybe a date or at least a window, and then maybe some like a story trailer, kind of what the heck is Shadow of the Erd Tree. So that's I think we could definitely see something again, because Elden Ring, From Software, having that relationship with Keeley, you know, they had the giant pot thing.
they
that
got the world premiere with him.
the world premiere. Potty came out on stage, you know, or whatever his name was. So yes, that's what I would like to see.
I can't think of anything. Oh, do you think we get a little bit more of a peek at Metal Gear Delta?
We could. I don't. That's not one I'm very confident in. Like similar to my the Death Stranding one. I think it's low only because Master Collection is coming out in a couple months, and I think they want eyes on that right now. And when they announced Delta, they even said like this game isn't coming for a while. Like they kind of made it very clear, like
Fair.
it could be a bit. So like it's still very early stages. So I could see us not seeing more until either Game Awards or even Summer Game Fest next year. Like we didn't get a date. Like it was literally just a trailer. This exists.
It was an announcement trailer.
So like that could still be a couple years out. Like that could be like a 2025 game even.
That's fair. That's true.
I don't think so, but maybe, you never know. They might be like they could have like a little hype trailer for Master Collection, which by the way, IGN just did a preview of it and announced some new features.
Nervous.
It looks good so far, but at the end of it be like, oh, one more thing, and maybe they show another maybe just like one little cutscene, maybe not like a separate trailer, but like, you know, him meeting Ocelot for the first time or something like that, and like the weird like.
You think they have that much done?
I mean, a slice of the pie. They do that. They do that for trailers all the time. Where they just like, oh, we're just gonna work on this like 5 minutes just to cut, or not even 5 minutes. Like even if it's like a little minute and a half trailer of like, doesn't have to be the whole dialogue, just like a little bit of like them first interacting for the first time. Ocelot doing his weird little like, rawr, you know, you know, this stuff like that, showing off how like goofy Ocelot is. Because I know it'd be cool to see another character. They showed Snake a little bit, like a shadowy silhouette of him, and he looked incredible. But I'm like, dude, like I want to see some of the other characters, like what they're gonna look like. Like want to see Ocelot, I want to see Volgan, I want to see Eva, like I want to see all these characters, the boss, like in
Meryl.
the new graphic style there. So yeah, definitely they could. This a little teaser, like, hey, here's a little bit more. Remember, we're working on this. So, I don't know, maybe
They could do that, or they could tease Volume 2.
or that, which
all they have to do is say MGS4 is on Volume 2, and I was already in, but
MGS4
and Peace Walker.
MGS4 has to be on Volume 2. Like it, otherwise
why do
calling the first one Volume 1 automatically like is like a giveaway, like, oh, obviously they're doing a more volumes. Like, why would they call it Volume 1 if there wasn't going to be more? And if they're going to do a Volume 2, like, what other games like is there to put on? Like, if they're not going to do, if they don't do 4, like, what else is there? So yeah, I would be shocked if they didn't do 4, because like, yeah, they can't just have Peace Walker and Revengeance on there. Like, it's dumb. Like, so I feel like
you think they're going to put Revengeance on?
I think so, because in the last like year or two, in the last like 2 years, it's kind of become like a lot of people's favorite Metal Gear game. A lot in quotes. I'm on the Metal Gear Solid subreddit, and it's incredible the amount of posts every day that are posted about, dude, Metal Gear Rising Revengeance is my favorite one. Oh man, I never played it. I ignored it for the longest time. Tried it. This game's really good. Like, there's this weird revisionist history all of a sudden where everyone's like, this game is so amazing. Like, everyone's going crazy hype over Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. And so they've been able to sell crazy numbers just on Steam, I'm sure, selling this game. So I would be shocked if they didn't put it in there just because of the weird popularity. And it is like, it's on. Is
Kojima still being weird about it? Because every time people ask him, is it canon? He goes, I don't know. Yeah, it could be, it could not be.
Yeah, I don't know.
But he was the one that was like, he signed off on it, right? I don't think he wrote it, but he's like, yeah, it's cool, put it out.
Yeah, I mean, he signed off. He signed off on a lot of games, but like Acid, they're not canon and stuff like that. Like, so I mean, he signed off on plenty of.
But
games,
like this one specifically follows, like Acid didn't follow any canon, right? This one is like after 4,
right? Yeah, and that's why I think it would be put on there, is because even though, if it's not technically like canon, I guess it's still like, I don't know. I as much as I don't want to think it. As much as I don't like to say it's canon, because I don't like what they did to Raiden, where like at the end of 4 he seems to be coming around, and then all of a sudden he just like gets dumped into the depths again and Rising Revengeance, and he turns back into Jack the Ripper basically. I'm like, oh man, like what they did my boy dirty,
Isn't that the point though, to show how scandalous the government is?
Yeah, I don't know, but I even though I don't necessarily like the idea of it being canon, like, I think the general consensus is it is, or it's at least like a pseudo canon kind of thing where it is kind of like, or maybe it's embellished in areas, but
right.
These are the general events of what happened after 4 kind of thing. So I don't know. It's in a lot of videos of like GameSpot just put out a video like a couple days ago of like the full Metal Gear timeline in preparation for, and they have it as canon, which is, I was like, that's a bold move, but okay. And they have Tamoru Hussein, who works over there, and he's like the biggest Metal Gear head.
Huge Metal Gear fan.
I'm sure he helped to write the script for that, and so I wouldn't be surprised if if that says it's a canon. All right, I'll trust him. He knows what he's talking about. Boy, we've been talking about Metal Gear a lot, and I'm loving it. But we have a lot more nerdy nudes here to talk about. So tune in.
About some high D.
Yeah. If you are watching us live Tuesday, 22nd at 11 a.m. Pacific time, we will be live streaming our reactions to Gamescom. And if you are listening later on Wednesday, make sure to go back to our YouTube channel and watch it. It'll be up there ready for you to watch. All right. This next news story comes to us from Devin Ellis Friend from Gamerant. Super Mario Bros. Wonder needs one overdue upgrade to its multiplayer. And let me see here. This is their article. I've never been to this site before, so I wasn't sure what was going on with these highlights, but here's the article. Super Mario Bros. Wonder could take its multiplayer capabilities to the next level by adding an upgrade to the series formula. As part of Nintendo's flagship franchise, Super Mario Bros. Wonder is in prime position to show off the best of the best that the Switch is capable of. Not to mention, since it will be the first 2D Mario adventure in several years, there's a lot of pressure for the game to be a magnificent return to form for Nintendo's greatest hero. While Wonder already looks impressive, a few tweaks could put the game over the top. Specifically, the addition of online multiplayer could make it a lot more appealing to a modern audience. Super Mario Bros. Wonder is one of the Nintendo Switch's biggest games in development, and it's not hard to see why. In addition to calling back to Mario's platforming roots, there's a lot for players to get excited over. It's Daisy's first playable appearance in a main series platformer, and the Wonder Flower sets up a lot of wild new possibilities for level design. Following up on Super Mario Odyssey, Super Mario Bros. Wonder was always going to need to innovate in a major way to be a worthy successor. Thankfully, early gameplay footage points toward it living up to the task. And there's more of this article, but the whole premise of it and what I wanted to discuss, this was more of a jumping off point for a discussion for us.
Okay.
Is could and should Super Mario Wonder add online play for like 4-player co-op? Like you think back to Super Mario Brothers, like new Super Mario Brothers, like they have like the 4-player co-op. There's always couch co-op. As far as I understand, never online stuff until I know Mario Maker, I think, has some online stuff in different ways.
Mario Maker has it. Mario 3D World has it, which is surprisingly good there.
Okay.
Mario Makers is not the best.
Yeah. But as far as like a main like Super Mario Brothers like game,
I think it absolutely should,
yeah.
For the sole reason that they are asking you to pay for online services, if nothing else, right? And this is a premier Nintendo title. It makes perfect sense for them to put online so that they can push the online subscriptions. I feel like that would be a major missed opportunity because this game is easily doing at least 15 million with the install base that the Switch has. I'm trying to be like conservative with this prediction. So that's a potential 15 million customers who you can advertise Switch Online or Switch Online. I forget what the upper echelon tier is called.
Well, yeah, whatever it's called, I don't remember. Though with the pass or whatever, this special
with how nickel and dimey Nintendo can get at times, it wouldn't make logistical sense for them to not offer online multiplayer just for that.
Yeah.
Even if it's bad, you could still say it's there.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, I hope they add it, and I think it would be a good idea. But like, it's interesting as this article is like why online play could help Super Mario. Like I don't know. They seem to think like it. Like I don't know. Based off some of like the headlines and stuff, that almost makes it seem like it needs it to help push it over the edge. But I don't know. Like honestly, like I think this game could go without it and still like just destroy. Like I think it'd be amazing.
Yeah,
just have couch
absolutely
co-op.
could.
Like I don't think this is anything it needs. But I am with you right there. Where like they have an online service you're already paying for. Like, and with a lot of their other games, you're right. Like they add like Animal Crossing. Oh, if you subscribe, you get this. Mario Kart. If you subscribe, you get this. So if you have that special super awesome season pass thing, whatever they pay for. Whatever the top dog tier is called. So I almost hope, there's some sort of feature here like, hey, if you have the whatever, like you get this. And part of that is, the ability to jump in with 3 other friends on, another state or something like that. Just playing online with friends on Mario. That'd be really cool. But
they have the technology to make it good. Like, Mario 3D World was a full-on 3D Mario, so it was definitely more taxing, like more data going through than maybe what a 2D would be. I don't know if necessarily that's the case, but it feels like it was more complex.
You would think so, yeah.
Right. And that was like surprisingly well done. I don't know what they did to make it run as well as it did online, but if you can do it with that in a 3D space, I don't know what would be so tough to do it here. But I don't know how what engine this game is running on. How intensive it is, because it can look deceptively like simple, but then all the systems behind it could be pushing the Switch to the limit. We don't know. So
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, that game's coming out sooner than I realized. October 20th it's coming, so pretty soon here.
Less than 2 months.
Yeah, wild. But I don't know. Yeah, I hope that's a feature they lay into. And you kind of had your rant a couple weeks ago. Was that last week about like Nintendo just not having good online for no reason at all other than just complete just negligence and ignorance or something. I don't know. They're just like really like I don't. Like,
I'm not gonna go back into it, but it's it's unacceptable.
And so 2023. I would hope like I don't know things would start changing, especially as they keep adding more games with online features. So I almost hope they add online just to kind of push them and help them grow in an area they really need to grow and they need to change. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. In a couple months we will find out, or a lot of times we find out beforehand. So hopefully there's a preview here in a few, like a month or so from IGN
it's gonna
or
leak.
GameSpot. Where
it's gonna leak. It's
like,
too big of a game not to leak.
What would be cool too is if they added like some sort of like extra like little bonus games, like mini games and stuff too. So like you can play the main game, but you can also do like little like I don't know, like not necessarily
together.
Yeah, not necessarily like Mario Party type games, but something silly and small. Like you can do like little party mini games that are just silly and maybe it's just specific just to Wonder or something like that. That'd be kind of cool, especially since they're not supporting Mario Party anyways, which is wild.
Again, they had it twice.
2 chances to have great
what is the deal with that?
Great Mario parties on the Switch, and the first one was not great. The second one was great, but then both times they just dropped the ball and didn't support it. Like they both could have been fantastic.
Right.
It's like, so give me some fresh content then in Super Mario Wonder. That'd be awesome. Just like, all right, if you're not giving it to me in Mario Party, give me something fun to do in Wonder with my friends, But all right. This next news story, speaking of Mario, sad news. Charles Martinet is no longer the voice of Mario. This is written by Michael McWhirter over at Polygon. Actor Charles Martinet, known as the voice of Mario, Luigi, and Wario in Nintendo's Super Mario Bros. Games for 3 decades, will no longer voice these characters, Nintendo announced Monday. Martinet will segue into the role of Mario Ambassador. I love how they definitely just made up a job title for him. Like that job did not exist before, but because he's Mario, they're like, you are the Mario Ambassador, in which he will continue to travel the world sharing the joy of Mario. The company said in a statement posted on the social platform formerly known as Twitter. Why Polygon? Why do you have to say it like that?
Don't indulge him, Polygon, please.
It has been an honor working with Charles for so many years, and we want to thank and celebrate him, Nintendo added, saying it would post a video message featuring Martinet and Mario creator Shigeru Miyamoto at a future date. Martinet confirmed the news on X, the social media platform for... Okay, we get it, Polygon. Writing, my new adventure begins. You are all number one in my heart. Love it. Nintendo fans first noticed a change in the voices of Mario and Wario in recent trailers for Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
Yeah, I did that.
And WarioWare Move It. 2 new games coming to Nintendo Switch this fall. In an email to Polygon, Nintendo confirmed that Martinet would not appear in Wonder or WarioWare Move It. While Charles is not involved in the game, we're excited to honor his legacy and contributions, including looking ahead to what he'll be doing as Mario Ambassador. Martinet, at 67, has been the identifiable voice behind Mario since 1991. He first started performing Mario's chipper, exaggerated Italian-flavored voice for Nintendo at trade shows, but went on to record the character's voice for the first time in a Nintendo game in Super Mario 64, released in 1996. Since then, Martinet has been the voice of Mario in dozens of games, expanding his vocal range to include voices for Luigi, Mario, Waluigi, Baby Luigi, and Baby Mario. That's fantastic. But for the Super Mario Bros. Movie, Nintendo and Illumination enlisted Chris Pratt as the voice of Mario. I saw some people joking online like, oh, so Martinet's out and they're bringing Chris Pratt in, right? Chris Pratt's taking over. He's going to be in all the games now.
We're going to riot. We're going to riot.
Imagine Super Mario Wonder starts up and all of a sudden it's like, it's me, Mario.
Yeah.
It's Chris Pratt.
Oh. Are you guys ready to play a game?
Oh, man. Yeah. This is, it's
bittersweet.
Yeah.
It's bittersweet.
Because I'm glad he's still working with Nintendo. And like they said, like his job is literally just spreading the love and joy of Mario. Like,
Oh
just
yeah, he's tenure, dude. He's
like,
with Nintendo. Are you kidding?
that's
He's
amazing.
outside of maybe 4 other people working at Nintendo, like that's kind of the echelon that he's on. Like, you know how the professors at universities, when they've been there forever?
Yeah.
That's him.
Yeah.
It's like him, Miyamoto, and Tezuka, and like 2 other people are like, yeah, we are Nintendo. You can't be Nintendo without us, you know.
It don't
He's
exist
got an
us.
all access pass.
Oh man, so good. So yeah, bittersweet. Obviously, it's going to be interesting hearing what the new voices are. I mean,
So far the new one sounds good.
Yeah, apparently it's in the trailer. I need to go watch the trailer then, because I didn't notice. But I also,
that's a good thing.
I also didn't know this was happening. Now that I know, it'll be interesting to listen to it and be like, oh yeah, no, it is a little bit different. This a little.
Well,
bit.
nobody knew initially, and everybody said, "Oh no, that's Charles. I know that's Charles." And I said, from the jump, when we saw it the first time, I said, that sounds different.
Yeah.
I don't think that's Charles. Everybody said, "Oh no, you guys are crazy." Well, what now?
What now?
What now?
Adrian was right. But yeah, so good
Been
luck.
listening to that voice for decades. You gonna tell me I don't know what it sounds like?
He knows.
Come on now.
He knows. Good luck, Charles, with whatever you got going on next. I mean, obviously the ambassadorship, and hopefully just a little more rest. I assume this is almost like a semi-retirement. Like he's basically retiring without fully retiring,
Right.
which is awesome. So hopefully you can get some rest, kick it, enjoy Super Mario Wonder this fall, and not have to be like worrying about the next game to record. You can just chill.
It's like at Apple when you retire, you become a fellow, which is like basically a consultant. Like you don't actively work there, but if they need to call you and get your opinion on something, then they can do that.
Right.
Which I'm pretty sure they're gonna do with this new voice actor. So he could be like, no, you're not doing it like this. You got to do it like this.
Yeah.
You know?
Let's get little coaching sessions from the man himself. That'd be so cool. Sit down with Charles and be like, all right, teach me all the ways of being Mario.
Right.
So good. All right, this last news story, just touch on it real quick. Not much to discuss with this last news story. I do want to bring it up because we both very much love this game. Hi-Fi Rush crosses 3 million players. This is written by Ravi Sinha over at Gaming Bolt. Weirdly, not a lot of the news sites covered this. Like IGN, all the normal ones didn't. It was all the weird, like smaller ones. But Gaming Bolt had it. Thank you very much, Gaming Bolt. It's a day of good news for Xbox. With Starfield having gone gold, that did happen last week, which, by the way, you can pre-install right now if you have an Xbox or if you have Game Pass on PC. I've been pre-installed it. All you haters who think we hate Starfield, I installed it. I'm going to play it. Day one.
Why do you keep engaging them?
I'm gonna engage them until I'm right. Until this game sucks. No, just kidding.
Oh no!
Starfield's gone gold. The Forza Motorsport's shaping up well. On top of this, Tango Gameworks Hi-Fi Rush has achieved a new milestone, crossing 3 million players since launching last January for Xbox Series X and S and PC. The last major milestone for the rhythmic hack and slash title was in March at 2 million players. Being on Game Pass has doubtless helped. But while Microsoft hasn't announced sales, Xbox Games Marketing VP Aaron Greenberg denied rumors of low sales. He called it a breakout hit for us and our players in all likely key measurements and expectations. For more details on blah, 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 blah. That's just advertising for their news site. But there was a hefty update last month, which I didn't know about until I read this article. Arcade Challenge update, adding 2 new modes, BPM Rush and Power Up Tower Up. The former sees the beat and action becoming faster as players defeat enemies without missing any beats, and the latter puts a roguelite spin on the rhythm tower. Head to here for our impressions on the same. Super cool. This game is up there for both of us. I think we both kind of talked about how it's up there for Game of the Year for us.
I adore this game. It came out of nowhere and I was in just from the trailer, and then it turned out to be just as good as we thought it looked.
Yeah.
And it's in my top 5 game of the year right now. Like, I cannot recommend this game enough. It hits all the checklists, all the right buttons for me.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, this was a fantastic one. So good, even that we last minute changed our book club game that month. Remember, it was supposed to be like something else, and then you're like, this got announced. We're like, Shadow dropped. They're like, it's out.
Yeah.
And we're like, this is a game. This is a game. This is what we're playing for book club. So you can hear more of our thoughts on it. That was in March when it came out, I think. April, somewhere around there. It's on the free feed. So just go to your podcast apps. Or on YouTube and just search for Super Gamer Book Club. Go find that. But yeah, we both loved this game. As far as it's Xbox exclusive, right? Yeah, because Tango Gameworks is owned by.
It's on Xbox consoles and it's on Steam.
It is on Steam. I forget. Yeah, and Game Pass for PC. So if you already have Game Pass, just download it for free through that app. But if not, yeah, you can get it through Steam as well. Fun game, fun rhythm action game, which. Yeah, I never really got into those much, but playing this, I'm like, ooh, I like this. I like rhythm games, you know. I love me some good Rock Band, Guitar Hero back in the day. And I like action games, so putting them together kind of just made sense. And the soundtrack was killer.
Yes.
So good. All right. I believe that is it for the Nerdy Nudes this week. That means it's time for our Patreon ad.
Hit it.
All right, this is a part of the show where I tell you to go over to patreon.com/supergamerboys and support us over there starting at just $1 a month. That's right, $1, and you get episodes early and ad-free, such as this show, as well as Super Gamer Book Club, and the new Patreon exclusive show is Super Later Boys. Episode 2 is up right now, and hopefully by the end of the month, usually what we do is the last day of the month is when the new episode comes out, so look forward to hopefully the 31st, you getting a new Super Later Boys episode. Check that out. Stay tuned for that. $5 a month on our Patreon. You could be getting not only episodes early and ad-free, but you can be getting the show notes. So you'll know ahead of time what we're going to be talking about. And leave your own questions, comments, concerns right on the doc. So that way, if there's a news story that interests you, you have some thoughts on, a listener question that you want to answer as well, go ahead and leave the comment right there on the doc, and we'll be sure to read it right here live on the show. So if you want to be a part of the show, then go ahead and yeah, it's $5 a month, and you can get those show notes, leave your thoughts right there. And then when you're listening back later on your podcast or watching on YouTube, you can be like, hey, that's me. I said that. That's my opinion. It matters, and it does. $10 a month, you can be a Super Gamer sponsor. We get all those previous perks and a shout out on the show each and every episode at the top of the show. And then the top dog tier, Patreon producer, $15 a month. And you get all those previous perks, and you get to pitch a segment for our show. So yeah, we've had a few Patreon producers over the years. Adrian was one. He pitched us Super Indie Boys. He used to do a segment here for a while. And we've had a few others through the years. Kajoma with his JJ, Tall Tales with JJ. We did a Losing Reviews for a while. And even it was from the request of some of our Patreon producers to do a D&D show. That's what spun off into Super Dungeon Boys. If you haven't checked that out, go check that out. Separate show. You can find it on YouTube, our YouTube channel, or on podcast apps. It's a separate feed. So yeah, think about supporting us at the top dog tier. If you're like, hey, I think I have a good idea for a segment here, and you really love what we do and want to help support us in buying new equipment, buying new games, whatever it is to help keep the show running. If you are passionate about our show, we would very much appreciate that help. And we appreciate all the current Patreon supporters. So thank you very much for that. One last thing before we get out of the ad here. Twitch.tv/the Super Gamer Boys. We stream there each and every week when we record the show. And if you're here right now and you have your free Prime gaming subscription, make sure to drop that over with us. If you have Amazon Prime, you can link it to your Twitch account. And for free every month, you get a Prime gaming subscription that you can drop on any channel you want. You got to remember to do it each month because it doesn't automatically renew. But if you have that sitting, burning a hole in your pocket right now, make sure to drop that for us. We'd very much appreciate it. You get access to our emotes, and it helps the channel out financially. We'll get $5 straight from Jeff Bezos' pocket that we can use on video games, new equipment, just generally making the channel bigger and better. So think about it. Drop it our way. We'd appreciate it. And just follow. It's free to follow on Twitch. So go ahead and follow and ring that bell so you know that when we're going live on Monday nights. All right, that's it for the ad. Now, let's get into the next segment.
You almost made it.
Almost made it. All right, it's now the time of the show where I ask you, Adrian, what you playing?
Oh boy, I have been a gaming fool this week. Let me tell you what. So let's start off. I started Vampire Survivors this past week, which is recently just released on consoles.
Yeah.
And I see it. I get it. I get the hype. It is dangerous. That game is possibly, very, very addicting. You can spend, because each main round is about 30 minutes that you have to survive. So just that alone, you're looking at least a half hour per session. And you can, play stages multiple times, and you can try different loadouts to see what works best for your character. Yeah, I totally get it. I gotta beat it as fast as I can, because the way that you can tackle this game is like you can use every character and then go back and beat every stage with each one, and that's just hours and hours and hours you can add on.
Yep. Oh man.
But that game is fantastic. I can't believe it's only $5, but it is.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I play it through Game Pass because it's on Game Pass. I didn't realize it's that cheap as well. That's crazy. Just to buy it outright. That's awesome.
Definitely recommend that one. And then the other one that I have been playing that recently came out as well is the long-awaited, for me anyway, is Bomb Rush Cyberpunk.
Oh yeah.
Which is it's been dubbed or deemed the spiritual successor to the Jet Set Radio series. And boy, does it live up to that name. This game is everything that I've been waiting for in a Jet Set Radio sequel. It really does feel like Jet Set 3, but it feels like a mixture of that with Team Reptile's own vision, which is the developer of the game.
Okay, yeah.
It is firing on all cylinders. It scratches that itch. It makes that warm feeling in my old man Jet Set heart. It's set to the blaze, man. Everything about it. And we were talking before the show, and I said this in the absolute best way. This game feels, the vibe of it feels like it stepped right out of 2000, but the gameplay and the mechanics and sensibilities feel modern, and it's the perfect mix of those two.
Okay.
It looks dead on like it could have just jumped right off of a Dreamcast onto modern platforms. And I love the way it looks. I love the way it plays. I love the way that they do dialogue. The soundtrack is absolutely killer, which is paramount in a Jet Set game. You have to have a great soundtrack to skate to or to bike to or whatever, because you can do multiple things in this game. There's multiple modes of transportation. Yeah. This is what I was waiting for. They absolutely delivered, and I cannot wait to go back and play more of it. So those two are the big ones that I've been playing this week. How about yourself?
That's awesome. For me, it's it's more of the same. Playing more Baldur's Gate 3. It's a huge game. And at this point too, I'm loving it so much. And I know I have other games I should be playing and finishing, but I'm I love this game. And in just a few more days, let's see, on Thursday night, the new Armored Core is coming out. So I'm just kind of biding my time until Armored Core Fires of Rubicon comes out.
What is your latest exploits? What's going on in your journey?
So in Baldur's Gate, right now, I guess I'll get a little spoilery. Not that I'm that far, to be honest. So here's the deal. I mean, you guys know, open world games, I get super distracted all over the place. So I been trying to just clear the opening map, essentially. Like after the ship crashes from another dimension and you're on this ground on the in this new land, essentially, or maybe you're back home. I guess it's not 100% clear yet. I have just been searching every inch of this place, and dude, it's just so cool because it's like it's a game that rewards that. Like it's not like, oh, okay, like there's you go find something, there's a cool building, but there's nothing good there. It's like, no, you go to every nook and cranny, and there's like cool lore that you find, or some cool gear, or like some fun fights, stuff like that. It is just a blast. It rewards that, because a lot of games don't. Like they might have like little funny little Easter eggs or something, but it's like, oh, okay, I didn't really find anything that wasn't worth it. Or it's just a dead end, where this game is like, no, you search things, you're gonna either come across some funny situations or crazy fights or something like that. And but yeah, I'm at this point now where there's this group of druids that are trying to kick the tieflings out of like this area. The druids have been there forever. The tieflings are already like are nomads because they were kicked out of their original lands where they lived, and they had settled down in this area. And then these goblins started attacking, and the druids are like, "Nope, your guys are the reason everything's going crazy. So we're gonna kick you guys out. Like you're not allowed to live here anymore." And so like I'm in the middle of like trying to. I mean, that's what's crazy about Baldur's Gate. There's a million ways you can go about this. You could side with the druids and like kick out all the tieflings. You can side with the tieflings and start a civil war and just like fight the druids. Or what I'm trying my best to do is like to peacefully have them like come together and work together.
Trying to mediate.
Yeah, so it's like been about a back and forth with these leaders, and it's finally come down to, oh, well, what happened? I'm finally figuring out the story is that like this leader of the druids, he actually went off on an adventure to look for something in some cave, never came back. And so this other lady stepped up to take his place and lead. Come to find out, she's just racist against tieflings, basically, or just anyone who's not a druid or whatever. And so she's just like, and even like talking with a lot of the druids, they don't like her, but because she's a leader, they're just going along with what she says. And so like one of the leader of the tiefling is like, maybe you might just need to assassinate her. And I'm just like, oh, if I do that, like it's gonna cause so much chaos. So like right now I have a mission though to go out and like one of the other options, like, well, or you go find whatever his name is, the other like the original druid leader, and see if you can find him. Like go to this where he went on that exploration, find him, save him, bring him back, and try to like help smooth things over, because he invited the tieflings in him originally. He's good. He's this good guy. And so I'm like, oh man, that's a tall order. So I just like waltzed into this goblin fortress where he may or may not be being held. I don't know yet. Like I'm just in this area. And yeah, I just found out some interesting things with the goblins. I was expecting to be ambushed and killed immediately, or at least attacked. But instead I was able to like talk my way through some stuff, and with some weird connections, like they're actually okay with me. Like I was able to intimidate them into like not attacking us and like being okay with us, which is interesting. I won't get into like the story reasons why it worked out, like play the game, but I'm like walking around in their base, which helps tremendously, because I think if I would have been enemies with the goblins, this is impossible. Like it would have been impossible. Like I don't know if
right.
Like it would have been so freaking hard. But the fact that I was able to like I'm playing as a bard, so I have like really high charisma. Just talk my way out of things and like convince people of things. Oh man, it just made it so much easier. Like, oh, like they actually like are submitting to me, these goblins, at least in this immediate area. So I don't know. That's where I'm at right now. I also came across an owl bear in a cave, and I haven't learned the spell Speak with Animals yet, because I had it kind of spoiled for me that apparently you can have the owl bear join you as like a party member almost.
If you can talk to it. But the problem is I walked in the cave and immediately just wanted to attack me. And I was like, I can't attack this thing. I don't want to kill the owl bear, like not yet. So I like left. Can you come back to it later once you learn how to speak to animals?
I think so. I mean, that's my plan. I marked it on my mini map. And so I need to go learn the spell, Speak with Animals. and then I'm gonna come back and see if I can talk to him. But right
Okay.
now, like, I mean, what happened is, like, I stumbled on the baby one, and then the mama one got pissed, and I'm like, oh
Uh-oh.
no. So I like just backed out.
Time to
like,
go.
Peace, I'm out, see ya. So try to come back and revisit that later. But this game's just so good. And I if you want to hear more about my Baldur's Gate thoughts, more deeper thoughts, we talked for like an hour over on SBF VGS podcast. So do a search for that. Super Best Friend Video Game Sleepover. Talk with Mike and David over there for about an hour, and you can hear their thoughts as well. Ton of fun doing that. Yeah, loving the game. Very few gripes, honestly, and it's more like nitpicky things with like how there's a different UI in the game, whether you're using mouse and keyboard or controller. So if I'm
I remember you saying that.
Yeah, so if I'm on my PC and I'm using my mouse and keyboard, you know, it looks one way, the menu, like the whole interface looks one way and works one way, and then the second I pick up my DualSense that's plugged into my computer and move the analog sticks, all of a sudden the game like freezes for a second, and then pop, a new interface pops up, and it like looks different, plays different, works different. There's even features that are like missing and different, so which is kind of weird. So like when I go to a shop and I barter with people, I like to be on controller, because for whatever reason, when I go to a shop, I can pick from I can see the inventory of everyone in my party, all 4 people. And then like, oh, click and drag, I want to sell all of these things, and boom, you're done. On mouse and keyboard, that's impossible to do. You can only, if you try to switch to another character to look at their inventory, it resets the bartering process, which is a wild thing. Like, it's like so weird. So it's like there's weird like quality of life things, and there's positives on both. So it's like, oh, there's really good things on controller, really good things on mouse and keyboard, but it's something where like, yeah, mid-game, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to the shop, pick up my controller. All right, I'm back in combat. This is nicer on mouse and keyboard. Go back over to that. So it's a little weird, but I am mainly playing on Steam Deck, though, which is controller. And for 99% of things, it's amazing. Loving it. So,
Okay.
Yeah, go. If you're not playing this game, guys, listen to the show. Go play this game. It's literally just.
I will. I promise you. I will.
It's D&D.
There is so much coming, and so much that I haven't played. That I still have not played Final Fantasy yet. It's been that big of a year. That packed of a year.
Which one? What do you mean? Oh, 16. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. There's a lot. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot,
so.
And there's a lot coming still.
Well, yeah, like what? On Friday, it's Armored Core. The week after, it's Starfield.
Mario's coming.
Yeah.
Alan Wake is coming.
In October, there's like 5 games coming out. Like,
right.
It's unfortunately just
Assassin's Creed.
Bonkers crazy. So, yeah, crazy game. Crazy gaming year. So, looking forward to it, but also it's gonna be exhausting trying to get through all these things. It's gonna be a long trek, but that's all right. So yeah, that's what I've been playing, and thank you all so much for listening to this episode. We appreciate each and every one of you who tune in here live at twitch.tv /the Super Gamer Boys, or over at youtube.com/Super Gamer Boys, or listen later on podcast services around the globe. We thank you, appreciate you. Tell your friends about us. We appreciate that as well. Help spread the good news of Super Gamer Boys. If you really love what we do and you want to help support us and get some sweet perks, early and ad-free episodes, go to patreon.com/Super Gamer Boys. Throw us just $1. We'd appreciate it. It's $1. You can get some sweet things. Or if you want some of those other perks, like I said, we got something for everyone. sgbstore.com. You can buy some sweet merch. We got coffee mugs, stickers, t-shirts, hoodies. Go over there, check it out, get some cool merch with our logo on it, and help support the show that way. Shout out to Jack Sriracha and Yate for allowing us to use their music on the show. We appreciate them very much. You can find them on Apple Music and Spotify. Links will be in the show description below. And during the week, you can find us at supergamerboys.com, Twitter and Instagram at supergamerboys. I am on Twitter and Instagram at gmorlang. Adrian, where can the people find you at?
You can find me any and everywhere on these here socials or gaming services at Homeboy.
Heck yeah. All right. Well, that's all. One last piece of housekeeping that I was supposed to say at the beginning of the show, but here we are at the end. No episode next Monday. because I will be traveling to Seattle. I will be on an airplane for most of the day, and because we're got a layover in San Jose for a little bit and get to Seattle later. So we
Walking
will
right next to PAX.
Yeah, I'll be up there just missing out. I wanted to get a ticket real bad, but I just wasn't able to get nail down a good time to go to PAX. But I get to see the McElroy brothers. So I get to see,
okay.
They're doing live shows. They're doing the Adventure Zone one night, and my brother and me. I'm going to the Adventure Zone with my buddy. See some D&D. Watch him play some D&D. I've seen him before in San Jose, like 3-4 years ago. It was a ton of fun. So I'm excited to see him again. So if you're going to the Adventure Zone up in Seattle and you listen to our show, hit me up, I guess.
He'll be there.
Hang out. I mean, we have assigned seats, so we can't sit next to each other, but we'll be there.
Also, if you can sneak him into that, either into PAX or to that Nintendo event that's supposed to be going on.
Yes.
Just saying, if you know somebody that knows somebody,
if you got hookups,
get him in there.
Get me into PAX or even just the free Nintendo event. That'd be awesome. I'd love it.
That we both got turned down for. Not salty about it. Don't worry about it.
That lottery system was a joke.
Why did they do that?
So dumb.
Why wasn't it just first come, first serve?
Should have been, because I was there. Like
we were there. We were on it.
All right, Adrian. That's all I got for this show. Go ahead and take us out.
You got it. Folks, thank you for hanging out with us for another week. As always, we appreciate any and all support that you give us, even if it's just listening or telling somebody about us or even watching the videos. And of course, subscribing to our Patreon. It all helps us to continue to do what we do. And as I always say, that we would have been talking about this stuff regardless, but we're happy to include you guys all in on the conversation because it introduces a bunch of new viewpoints and things that we wouldn't have thought of. So in turn, it helps enrich our conversations. So as always, like I said, we appreciate you all. And until next time, we are the Super Gamer Boys.
And we'll catch you on the flippity flop.
I don't know how I forgot it was Atlas in BioShock. Like, I had a complete meltdown for a reason. I remembered Fontaine before I remembered Atlas. What?
Same here. I'm right there in the same boat with you.
I'm getting old, man.